Imagine if I told you that a decision made just a few days ago could forever change the history of world football, and that it all began with a simple meeting in a closed room in Madrid. That a political move is about to shatter a centuries-old tradition, while millions of euros are circulating behind the scenes in negotiations that could redefine the future of some of the biggest clubs on the planet. And what if I told you that, while this is happening, three players are experiencing crucial moments in their careers, each facing a crossroads that could determine not only their personal destinies, but the balance of power in European football for years to come? This isn't just another week in the world of football. It's a moment when multiple forces converge to create a perfect storm of change, resistance, and opportunity that promises to shake the sport's most solid foundations. The revolution began quietly at a meeting of the Royal Spanish Football Federation, where an apparently administrative decision carries the weight of completely transforming the essence of one of the world's most traditional leagues. For the first time in history, an official La Liga match can be played outside of Spain, and the chosen venue could not be more symbolic: the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, where Barcelona and Villarreal could star in a historic event on December 20th or 21st. But this is not just a change of venue. It is the materialization of an audacious project that Javier Tebas, president of the La Liga, has been building for years, facing seemingly insurmountable political, bureaucratic, and cultural resistance. The choice of Miami is no coincidence. It's pure strategy. President Joan Laporta has already publicly stated that Barcelona feels loved and respected in the United States, a country where the club undertakes annual tours and cultivates an exponentially growing fan base. But while the club's directors celebrate the Spanish Federation's approval, a silent war is unfolding behind the scenes. The Spanish Footballers Association voted against the proposal in a tense meeting, demanding transparency regarding the selection criteria for this particular match. Players question why they weren't consulted beforehand, and fans express outrage on social media, claiming the measure robs the competition of its local character and harms those who had already made plans to watch the game in Spain. Now the ball is in UEFA's court, which has until November 30th to respond. If approved, the request will go to CONCACAF and the United States Football Federation in a race against time that could result in the first precedent of a new era. The financial compensation has already been defined, between 5 and 6 million euros for each club, with Villarreal receiving a slightly higher amount to compensate for the loss of ticket revenue at its stadium. But will the money compensate for the break with a tradition that has defined the identity of Spanish football for over a century? While this institutional battle unfolds, another war is being waged in the transfer market, where powerful Middle Eastern forces are trying to lure some of Barcelona's top talents. Al Nassr, the Saudi club that recently landed Inigo Martinez, has set its sights on Ferran Torres, offering a multi-million-dollar offer that could represent a radical change in the Spanish striker's career. But herein lies one of the most interesting twists in this story. Torres said no. At a time when Saudi money has attracted world stars with offers they can't refuse, the 25-year-old has decided that his future remains tied to the Catalan project. Torres's decision reveals much more than loyalty to the club. It demonstrates the confidence of a player who has found his ideal place under Hansi Flick, a coach who sees the Spaniard as a key player in his tactical system. With nearly 20 goals scored last season, Torres established himself as one of the key players in the Blaugrana attack, demonstrating his versatility in different positions and a goal-scoring instinct that explains Barcelona's reluctance to negotiate for him. The Catalan Sports Board quickly closed the door on Al Nassr, aware that the current market doesn't offer many quality alternatives to replace a player of his caliber. But not all Barcelona players are experiencing moments of certainty like Torres. Marc Casado, a 21-year-old midfielder, faces a dilemma that perfectly exemplifies the challenges faced by young talent at major clubs. Having recovered from injury and participated in all preseason friendlies, Casado has failed to secure a place in Hansi Flick's main plans. With Gavi and Frankie de Jong in good form and Marc Bernal returning to the team, opportunities for the young player seem increasingly limited. It is against this backdrop of uncertainty that Athletic Madrid has expressed interest, seeking a replacement for Rodrigo de Paul, now at Inter Miami. Diego Simeone sees Casado as the ideal defensive pivot, a strategic position in the club's formation. The youngster's contract with Barcelona runs until 2028 and has a €100 million release clause, but the Catalan board is reportedly willing to negotiate for around €50 million. Athletic will unlikely reach that figure, having invested €175 million in 9 signings in the summer transfer window, and is expected to submit an offer close to €35 million. Meanwhile, Bayer Leverkusen has entered the fray, increasing its offer to €35 million after an initial offer of €25 million. For Casado, the decision represents a crossroads: remain at Barcelona with limited opportunities, or seek prominence at other major European clubs. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, Barcelona is discreetly monitoring Jerónimo Espina, a young Argentine defender just 20 years old who plays for Atlético Madrileño, Atlético de Madrid's subsidiary team. Espina arrived in Spain in 2023 from Estudiantes de La Plata and quickly excelled under Fernando Torres. Diego Simeone has already called him up for Champions League and La Liga matches, recognizing his defensive qualities, good positioning, and leadership on the pitch. With the recent departure of Íñigo Martínez to Al Nassr, Barcelona has turned its attention to the young Argentine, although his registration is not a priority at this time due to budget constraints and other team needs. But perhaps the most intriguing story in this transfer saga involves Ronald Araujo and Liverpool's interest. The Reds didn't start the new season as planned. In the Community Shield final, they drew 2-2 with Crystal Palace in regulation time and were defeated 3-2 on penalties. Adding this result to the preseason friendlies, Liverpool had already conceded 11 goals in 7 matches before the Premier League even began. These numbers highlight worrying defensive weaknesses for a club with ambitions of winning the treble in the 2024-25 season. Reds manager Arne Slot sees Araujo as one of the solutions to their defensive problems. The Uruguayan defender represents everything Liverpool needs: solidity, experience on the biggest stage, and leadership skills. But here's the key issue: Araujo is unavailable. The player renewed his contract with Barcelona until 2031, wears the captain's armband with Frankie de Jong in Ter Stegen's absence, and enjoys the full confidence of Hansi Flick. His €1 billion release clause makes it clear that Barcelona has no intention of negotiating the defender, even when faced with offers that could reach €60 to €65 million. The situation becomes even more complex when we consider that Real Madrid is also monitoring the defensive market. After being thrashed 4-0 by Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup, the Merengues are looking for new options for their defense. One of the names that interests the Spanish club is Ibrahima Konate, who has a contract with Liverpool until next year and has not yet renewed. According to the French press, Real Madrid is not ruling out an offer, but the English club would not accept selling him for less than €50 million this summer. If Konate does not renew, he could leave for free next summer, a situation that would further increase the pressure on Liverpool to solve their defensive problems quickly. This complex web of interests and needs creates a fascinating domino effect in the transfer market. Liverpool needs defenders but struggles to sign their top targets. Barcelona boasts one of the best defenders in the world, but has no intention of selling him. Real Madrid is watching the situation, waiting for an opportunity. Meanwhile, young talents like Marc Casado and Jerónimo Espina represent the future, but face the typical challenges of those trying to establish themselves at the highest level of European football. What makes this story even more captivating is how all these elements interconnect. Barcelona and Villarreal's potential move to Miami represents not just a change of location, but a new business philosophy in football. The movements in the transfer market reflect the financial and sporting pressures facing major clubs. And the individual decisions of players like Ferran Torres, Marc Casado, and Ronald Araujo show how personal, professional, and financial factors combine to determine the future of careers and clubs. In the coming days, some of these stories will have their outcomes defined. UEFA will give its response regarding the Miami match by November 30th. The winter transfer window approaches, bringing new opportunities and pressures. And the players involved in these negotiations will continue to make decisions that will impact not only their careers, but also the balance of power in world football. This is just the first part of a revolution that promises to redefine what we know about the world's most popular sport.